What's happening, Wargamers? Welcome to the Meditations for Star Wars Shatterpoint. And honestly, I think this was probably this game blindsided me the most out of all the games we've played, because I did not see the final result happening the way it did. And both of us seem to agree.
Yeah, I mean, going into Struggle 2, I was not very confident. I know I won Struggle 1, but going into Struggle 2, I was very worried because I saw a lot of wounded tokens on my models. But through most of Struggle 1, like
you were commanding the board.
I was dominating this game, and we mentioned this a few times, but I think the real flip point was Bo-Katan up here into my Magna Guards. When you just one-tapped them, which they had taken 2 damage, to be fair. You didn't do 10
but still,
to them,
without that 2 damage, I would not have taken them down.
Getting 8 damage off of a random Bo-Katan attack that, like, you weren't... I mean, obviously, you're always trying to get the kill when you go for an attack, but, like, I don't think you were expecting it by any means.
No, I was not expecting it. This was just kind of like, let's see what I was actually going for the pushes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I was going for, right?
So, yeah, wounding the Magna Guard that early.
That was huge.
Then that happened to them again, too. They went down very fast when they came back up to your... I think it was your Mandos that ended up doing
the
them
Super
second
Commandos?
time.
Yeah, because I think the Super Commandos ran in there, like, took some damage and just threw, like, 10 dice.
Yeah.
Or 11 dice or something like that. Like, they just threw a whole bunch of dice.
So, like, going into the third struggle, I'm looking at my board, and it's like the B2s and the Magna Guards both get 1 activation left. If I don't win the struggle fast, it's going to be over.
Yeah, like, that was actually something... This beyond any other game we've played, I think Attrition has actually played the biggest impact.
Attrition was huge here. I lost this game on Attrition, majority.
I would agree. I would agree. There was a couple key dice rolls that also didn't go your way.
Yeah, well, stuff like the Bo-Katan one.
But yeah, my ability to just run at you and go, I'm just going to bonk you for all it's worth. Yeah. Now, what's really funny is my big bonk stick, Vader, like he barely nothing.
Yeah, he took out the B2s very efficiently the one time.
Finally. Yeah. He was very angry, and he's just like, we're done here.
Yeah. That was the other thing. The B2s went down very quick on their second wounds.
Yeah, who was it that somebody went into them really hard and just dummied them?
So Vader did it twice. He went into them
twice?
He went into them with the disarm token, did nothing. And then you flipped a Shatterpoint and you went into them again.
I remember that one.
And
I'm trying to remember.
The first time I think you actually chipped them down a little more. I don't think it was one hit.
It? Yeah, I don't exactly remember. But although I want to say Django.
It might have been.
Django is such a great piece because you kind of ignore him, but at the same time, he's just always a pain in the ass.
I regret not wounding Django sooner, but on the other hand, I don't think it would have done much.
Well, it's interesting because he didn't do as much of his restraint cables or his not so fast in this particular game, but he was always kind of a threat, and I think you were always kind of playing around that.
Oh, for sure.
I got to give a lot to the Super Commandos. I think them just
they did so much.
Their no mercy was just constantly like with how big the scrum was here, right?
Yeah.
Like, they were just constantly a thorn in your side.
Well, between the No Mercy and also just, like, they were outputting pretty well, and I could not take them down to save my life. No, there was a few turns there where I just wailed into them and did nothing.
They were surprisingly tanky. Like, I remember you went hard into them with the B2s.
Yeah. And
just really failed to do anything to them.
Yeah.
I got to give Asajj credit for you. Asajj got work done for you this game.
She did. She unfortunately was never able to actually wound anything. I think she got 1 wound on someone towards the end, but she never really wounded any of her main targets, which meant she didn't get any of her triggers on that stuff.
But she was constantly grabbing objectives.
She was very mobile. Right? She definitely kept me around for a bit, and shoving Vader way back there was nice. It would have been really, really nice to flip her sooner than I did in the final struggle, because she would have...
You mean who you top decked?
Who would have been my next card, we checked.
Yeah, that would have been getting her...
She was pinned, which was annoying, so I'd probably have to spend a force to get rid of that to try and jump.
Which is fine. I mean, she's not wounded.
But then
or injured,
she
rather.
Walks, she jumps, she might wail on Vader. It doesn't actually matter, though, because she's getting that point. And that point, how many times was that the priority point on both of our turns?
So many times. Normally, it's the other way around. Like, I'm rolling, it's like, oh, you control it, and I just can't get there.
Well, but even on your turns, you were always getting that bonus point, and you didn't have to do anything for it, because Vader wasn't even on it anymore.
I know. Like, who is it that took it for me?
It was your Super Commandos.
That's right. It was the last Super Commando turn.
It was my B2s went and stole these 2 points, and then they died, and then your Commandos went, stole them back, and died.
Oh, hey, what's this? This was a wild game. Like, there's... I still feel like I'm struggling to like really kind of make the best choices at times, but I feel like things kind of clicked a little bit more. Something that really bothers me and I think we can talk about it a little bit. And I think we've mentioned it before in previous games, is this game has a snowball effect.
It does. As my characters were starting to get wounded, I definitely was feeling the like there was going into that third struggle. Like I said, I was seeing all my wounded tokens, and I just like I don't think there's much short of extreme luck and you getting extreme bad
What
luck.
was it? Kalani had 2, the B2s had 2, the Magna Guard had 2.
Kraken was still on
Kraken
one
had
unflipped.
one,
Grievous had
one.
2, one and one unflipped.
Like it was just
yeah, no. Like going into that, I was looking at the board and like and obviously that's how it played out. If I didn't win very very quickly, I was just going to lose by not having enough bodies to keep up.
yeah.
And that
was one of my game plans, right? Was trying to take away those bodies, because a lot of your efficiency is your ability to like move your droids wherever the hell you need to move them.
For sure. And also getting all these spread out scenarios was bad for that, because Kraken and Kalani like allies within 4.
Yeah. The final scenario did not help you.
No, the final scenario was not in favor for the droids here.
Like if we had pulled, I think you were kind of aiming for like going across the middle.
Yeah, like that across the middle, or even like the going up the middle would have been fine.
There's a couple, but yeah, the one that we pulled wasn't conducive to you really getting what you needed.
Yeah.
Which was unfortunate.
And not to mention, right after that, flipping Kalani and Kraken, who were in no position to do anything. Was
2 worst top decks you could make.
And the worst part is, like I've said in the past, Kalani is always the best activation. But once you've lost both of your supporting units, that's no longer true.
Yeah, he definitely needs his other droids to do stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's really interesting. Like I think this game really kind of epitomized the snowball effect here, because I just kept throwing damage onto you, and I was kind of doing it at my own peril as well. Like I was hurting myself a lot.
A lot of your models were very injured at multiple points in this game. Like there was a lot of points where it was relatively easy to daze models.
How many times did I make a move and you're like, yeah, but you're wounded, so you don't take it? Like, you're right.
Yeah, that happened a few times. But yeah, no, there was a lot of that going around, because obviously I was in the same boat with all of my Kalani and Kraken things are great when those models can contest objectives. When they're wounded, they don't feel very good.
Yeah, and I think I made some decent use of like pushing and pulling people around this particular game. Like I loved having 2 pulls between Django and Maul. It was great. It was good fun. Maul showed up today.
Yep.
Maul got work done.
Maul did well.
I threw 16 dice. I feel like a champ.
Yeah, 16 dice in this game is
I mean, I picked on the poor kid, like wearing the mittens are on his feet, right? Like it's just really dummied Kraken there, but
yeah.
But yeah, like it just it still felt good. Right? It still felt good.
A little bit of vengeance for the time Kenobi threw 14 at your commandos.
Something like that. Yeah, just absolutely bonkers. But yeah, like it's amazing how different this game would have been if like some of your force abilities weren't getting so hindered.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, and thankfully, like this list was actually pretty conservative on force, because like Kraken and Kalani want to spend theirs for tactical network if they have to, but like the B2s don't need to spend most of the time. They don't mind it, but they don't need to. Magna Guards almost never need to spend until later.
Like, Magna Guards really don't have to, like, I guess protection protocols.
Yeah, like occasionally they might do a protection protocol. So really it was just my primaries, and both my primaries were pretty force hungry, but...
They were, but it was also one of those things where, like, they were also struggling to make the final hits on a bunch of guys as well.
That was the big one, was neither of them ever got the final tap on someone, usually just out of necessity to attack someone else. Like when Asajj had to go into the Mandos instead of...
Yeah. But I mean, that's also kind of what this game is all about, right? Like, sometimes you have to make those calls, and it's not always about taking out the primaries or the secondaries.
Oh, for sure. And like, I don't regret not targeting Maul and Vader when I didn't target Maul and Vader. That one does. I would stand by those decisions, but
yeah, no, it was very interesting game. Very interesting game. Very early on, I would not have called this as the final result. Like, you just dummied me on struggle 1.
The first struggle was very heavily in my favor. Yeah,
and I was able to squeak a couple through from a couple really good key rolls.
Yeah,
is what kind of happened there. And I guess that reinforced that I was making decent decisions in this game, and the dice kind of rewarded me with it. Yeah. So, yeah, that's not too shabby. Well, Jason, as always, man, I had a good game.
Yeah.
Even if I get salty in between takes at times, I always have a good game with you. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the game as well. Join in the conversation below, and we will see you next time. Happy wargaming.